How about them Cowboys? Hey everybody, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic, and welcome back. We're continuing as we're reaching the end of this recap videos, and we're talking about them Cowboys of Dallas. Remember when they said we're all in, and then everyone was like, on what? And with so many controversy of just the poor execution on everything, and with even now the coaching staff letting McCarthy just go off and getting basically a last second addition and be like, that guy. And you're like, oh my God. Then you're like, just get Garrett back. Just bring him back. Apparently, that's all you want, is just someone to control, manipulate Jerry Jones. So the Cowboys are on the clock, and they just got Joe Milton from New England. By the time I was recording, that I felt like Joe Milton is probably not going to get a chance in New England because I feel like he is very athletic, and I feel like he's kind of raw, but in the right system, he could be fun to watch. And the Cowboys just got him from New England on a trade. And I'm thinking, but you just paid Prescott and CD. Lawrence is gone. He went to Seattle. And he basically left a massive turd of disrespect to the Cowboys. Okay. So is Dallas going to become a reality show? Because quite frankly, the only thing I can see we're going all in is on drama. And the drama where basically I will ignore, but I will watch other people talk about it and be like, oh, that happened. Cool. I'm glad I didn't waste my time. Dallas was a team that even with all this, I still had them at 12-5, 10-7. This was another team that I felt with confidence they're going to the playoff. The question will be whether they win the division or they'll make wild card. But I still believe the Cowboys were going to go to the playoffs. Boy, did I feel so foolish just seeing how the Cowboys just fell apart. And a lot of times I was just like, what gives? You got paid. All of you got paid late. Good job, Jerry. But you got paid. So what gives? And then there was more drama, and there were some unnecessary things. And long story short, the Cowboy season just ended. But it kind of ended like you're watching a wounded animal and be like, just put out of his misery, dude. We don't need to keep doing this. I mean, you guys still had a chance, but it was just like, okay, you have a chance. I have a chance of dating Jennifer Lopez. I technically do. We're just not talking about just how small that chance is. So, yes, there is a chance. But a lot of it was just built on delusion and obnoxious, hopeful fan base. I think I called it a cult, but I cannot disagree with that too much. But I have to very cultish attitude I have. But once again, hell, you don't believe me? Just listen to Charlemagne the God on the Breakfast Club. He has openly admit the Dallas Cowboys are an obnoxious bunch that basically believe that every year they're going to the Super Bowl because it's basically a cult. May not an exact word, but Charlemagne the God, who is a diehard Cowboy fan, has openly admit that yes, he knows the Cowboy fandom is basically full of just oblivious, obnoxious, blind, loyal fan base that just says we're going to win the Super Bowl next year, and it's like, how? And it's like, doesn't matter, we will. Cool. So with all that, the Cowboys, I feel like they're not going to do it because they just paid their biggest players, but I'm just feeling like you guys need to sell the stock out. Prescott's too expensive. CeeDee Lamb is too expensive now, but if you could, trade him out. I think for the A+ of CeeDee Lamb, you can get 4 B- and maybe 1 C+. For a Dak Prescott, you probably can get a couple of B- and a C+. Like, you can get a lot of quality players that are coachable and have potential or have not reached their potential, then put all this money on players that are taking so much of the cap away from your team that Micah Parsons has not been paid yet. According to this recording, I have not heard any reports on Micah Parsons getting paid. That I'm starting to believe that Micah Parsons is going to leave to go somewhere else, and it's not so much of where he will go, it's just the idea of what he will do if he were to go to that team, or he goes to that team, or he goes to that team. And all I'm thinking is Buffalo. Buffalo needs a pass rusher. Micah Parsons is a disruptor. And then I start thinking the most weirdest combinations, like, what if he goes to Pittsburgh? TJ Watt and Micah Parsons on the same team. TJ Watt has been carrying the team on his own. What if Micah Parsons goes to Cleveland? Or better yet, what if he goes to the Chiefs? Because why not he goes to the Chiefs? So what's your best game, Dallas? Your best game took place Week 12 versus Washington, at Washington. This to me was your best game on the grounds of you were supposed to win it. And what I love most about that game is Turbin. Is Kevontae Turbin when his 90-yard kickoff return. Because for those who don't know, he was the USFL MVP back in the day. And he got picked up by the Cowboys. And to see that he is still, not just in the NFL, but still on the Cowboys and still making plays, to me is, this is the reason why we need to support the UFL. We need to support them more, and we need to get more teams. Yes, I understand the money cost. Yes, I understand the stipulation. Yes, I get that. But we can get more players, get more evaluation to chance to shine. And for all you owners out there, think of this. If the franchises of these teams from cities like Arlington and Birmingham develop a fan base and it grows, you know how much easier you can just snap your finger and be like, that team goes from a UFL team to an NFL team, and you expand and you make more money. You get that market, you grow it, you raise it, you strengthen it, and you make money. So, back to the game here. This was a game that you weren't supposed to win. Washington was on a hot streak. Dallas was just trying to find the exit, apparently. And they came into this game, a division foe on the road, and just sit there. I mean, when Terry McLaurin caught that pass and went 86 yards basically on a foot race, I was just like, this is a crazy game. It's a lot of speed going across. My God, this is fantastic. This is awesome. And then, of course, the onside kick recovery, led to the touchdown, too. So, big play, big play, big play, big play. And, yes, the Cowboys were 4-7 at the time, and Commander was 7-5. So, it wasn't like, oh, my God, the trajectory of the division has now been shifted. Whoa. No, it was more of Dallas says, basically, fuck you, Washington. We ain't going away. I mean, you may go to the playoffs, but it ain't today. And it won't be through us, so suck it. That's why it's the best game. Your worst game... Week 6 versus Detroit. Now, Week 6 is still very earlier in the year, but 47-9, I don't care if it's Week 1. That is what you call an embarrassment statement game, where if you're the one that scored the 9, you're the one where people are thinking, are you okay? Do I need to call a priest, or do I need to call your mother? Are you okay to go home? Are you okay? This game with the Lions just played with their food, that the game was in Dallas. That's what made it worse. You told the whole world to say, hey, Detroit's coming in. Cool. This could be the matchup for the playoff. And Detroit's like, you won't be there. You won't be there. The game was so bad that I feel like they used trick plays to test them out on you as if it's a preseason game. You were so a non-threat. They were like, I got this play in this playbook. Let's use it. And they said, it's Dallas. Why not? They ain't going to do shit. And they did. And when the game was at 47-9, even I was like, they could get to 50. Like, there was so much time left. You're thinking to yourself, as quickly as Detroit scores, they might. And the thing that pissed me off is that I did not want them to, because Tampa, as selfish of a brat I am, put 50 points on the Saints that day, and I did not want Detroit to overshadow us. I was like, no, 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 no. And I was like, no, 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 don't get 50. The Bucks got 50. Let us have our week. So that's the only reason why it was like, don't score 50, because I'm a selfish prick. This game was like the signal flare in the sky going, we are in trouble. And the sad thing is, we don't have a solution to fix it. We don't. So that's the worst game. It was at home, embarrassing. And honestly, it says that if you guys were to make the playoffs, stay next to the exit. You're going to be gone just as quickly. Unless you play Tampa again, and Tampa will lose in the first round. Your MVP for the Dallas Cowboys, I'm giving it to Rico. I'm giving it to Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle. Thank you. Hopefully I pronounced this right now. This was a running back that I remember watching the Rich Eisen show. They were mocking him and saying, hey, the Cowboys signed Rico back. Yep, they're going all in. Yep, they're going all in. And what's funny is that with Tony Pollard, this reminded me of the Cowboys of old. And I know I said a lot from all my older audiences. The Cowboys had a running back at one point called Julius Jones from Notre Dame. And then they had a running back named Felix Jones from Arkansas. And then they had a running back named Marion Barber from Minnesota. They have Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, and now Rico. The Cowboys are just the best place to go for a running back. And if you happen to be as good as Ezekiel Elliott, you will thrive so much further than ever before. And if you're just average, kind of like Rico was, you will still thrive with 1,000 yards and still be considered a contributor and a starter on this team. That is what the Cowboys have done in the time I've seen them. They just take running backs and make them great. And if they're already great in college, they will make them superstars in the NFL with the Dallas Star and the Dallas media and basically the state of Texas as their support and followers. Lord and Savior Ezekiel Elliott, save the Cowboys from mediocrity. That's what they do. And Rico is MVP because no one expected him to do it. Prescott was injured, who was out, did less than 2,000 yards. CeeDee Lamb was still phenomenal, but he has done that before with lack of quarterback play. But Rico was the biggest surprise because he was made fun of on the Rich Eisen show. He was made fun of. And it's like, Rico, look at this guy. Let's bring Ezekiel Elliott back because Rico. So Rico was the MVP because he was the biggest surprise. And him and CeeDee were probably the only two offensive threat. And Cooper Rush did well. But Rico was a big factor in the game when the Cowboys believed they had hope of making the playoffs. And then they played Tampa, which they beat Tampa, but Rico wasn't Rico in that game. But the rest of the time he was. So I'm giving him MVP mainly because this guy was made fun of and bullied by Rich Eisen and company, and he proved that I am a 1,000-yard rusher, bitches. The grade for the Cowboys with injuries, poor management, and just the lack of just focus and direction, it's a failed. The season's a failed, more so on the front office and leadership side than the players on the field. Injuries happened. Prescott was out again. But it was the leadership of Jerry Jones in the front office when Jerry Jones made that statement, all in, and all in was what I just did. That's it. Yeah, all in. And then you hear these stories of players like Derrick Henry and company that says, I thought I was going to be a Cowboy, but they never called me. It looks really bad when some players that succeeded greatly elsewhere are thinking, I thought you were going to call me, but you didn't. Bye. So it's a failed season, and more of it is on the front office and their poor execution. And the way this is looking this offseason, ay caramba. Because when it comes to your draft pick, Genty has always been viewed as a mock draft selection, and quite frankly, I'm still on that too. I think Genty will be there, will be a workhorse, and with Rico succeeding with what he had, Genty will be a bigger punch, and Rico might get pushed to the side, but Genty is too much of a powerhouse not to be considered. If not, then I'm thinking because of Lawrence's departure, maybe they go pass rush to team up with Micah Parsons, who would now become the senior leader. Therefore, I go with James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee, and if worst case scenario, Mike Green from Marshall, because I just have that, local town, small school Marshall. We are Marshall coming in there and making an impact. And similar to the Micah Parsons thing, team up with Micah Parsons, 1-2 punch, as now Micah now become the senior leader of the pass rush department. And that's where I feel like the Cowboys will go when it comes to the draft. And that's the Cowboys. We have 3 teams left. And we don't talk about the Super Bowl teams yet. So we talk about the Washington Commanders in a phenomenal, fantastic first year for Jaden Daniels. And as much as I am so thrilled and success for this young man and for the team to be in the playoff that's not named Philadelphia, Green Bay, and all the other consistent ones every single year, I am scared. But we'll talk about the Commanders. But until next time, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching.